The Men in Black. You might be thinking of the movie, but that's not the case here. Those who have witnessed or researched UFOs claim to have been approached by mysterious men in black suits. But are they really men? They are known to threaten people to remain silent about their UFO encounters or research. In today's Halloween special, I give you 5 creepy encounters with the mysterious Men in Black. One night in Ohio in 1967, Robert Richardson was driving his car when he hit something. Whatever the object was, it disappeared on impact. He got out of his vehicle and looked around and found a piece of metal that he believed came from the mysterious object. A couple days later at around 11 p.m., 2 men wearing black hats and sunglasses driving a black 1953 Cadillac visited Richardson at his home to ask some questions. A week later, another 2 men turned up, dressed in all black. The MIBs asked Richardson to give the metal to them. When he informed them he had sent it for analysis, the MIBs threatened to harm his wife if he didn't get it back. He never heard from them again. Dr. Herbert Hopkins was working as a consultant on a UFO case in Maine. One evening, he received a phone call from someone reporting to be an activist in the UFO community, asking him if he could visit Hopkins to discuss the case. Only minutes later, the man arrived. The man was wearing a black suit and black tie, and had very unusual facial appearances, with no hair or eyebrows and an extremely pale figure. Hopkins' dog began barking erratically the minute the man entered the home. After the bizarre visitor was finished questioning him about the UFO case, the visit got even stranger. He informed Hopkins that there were 2 coins in Hopkins' pocket, which was correct. He asked him to remove one. Hopkins complied and held the coin in the palm of his hand. The MIB told Hopkins to watch the coin closely. After a few moments, the coin took on a silvery appearance and then appeared to be going out of focus. It then began to fade and eventually disappeared altogether. The MIB informed Hopkins that the coin would never be seen on this plane again. He then inquired as to whether Hopkins was familiar with alleged UFO abductee Barney Hill. Hopkins replied that he had heard of Hill, but was under the impression that he had died in the not-too-distant past. The MIB informed Hopkins that was correct. Barney didn't have a heart, said the MIB, just like you no longer have a coin. It should be noted that Barney Hill actually died of a cerebral hemorrhage. The MIB then gently suggested that Hopkins destroy any material he had related to the UFO case. Hopkins, extremely shaken by the encounter, followed the advice of the man and burned all the files he had related to the case. He never saw the man again. Danny Gordon was a radio personality who became interested in a flurry of Wythe County UFO sightings. Multiple people across the county claimed to have seen bizarre objects in the sky, and Gordon decided to investigate. Gordon became obsessed with getting photos of the objects, including one time when an entire school bus of students saw the UFOs flying over a shopping mall as Gordon took photos. Eventually, Gordon snapped a few photos at extremely close range that allegedly verified they were not of this world. However, strange things began happening to Gordon. He received a phone call from a man who claimed to be ex-military and warned him that his research could cost him everything, and urged him to stop for his family's sake. Gordon was also interviewed by 2 men in black suits who claimed to work for a magazine publication. Not long after the interview, Gordon realized all his photos were missing. He contacted the magazine for information, and they claimed to have never heard of him. Not long after, Gordon suffered a heart attack, and his doctor warned him that all the research and stress was jeopardizing his health. Gordon gave up the story and was never bothered again. Paul Miller was returning home after a hunting trip when they saw a luminous disc in the sky. The disc landed in an empty field, and 2 humanoids emerged from the craft. Miller fired his gun at them and believed to have injured one when he fled down a road in his car. However, in that moment, he realized he had lost time. It was almost 3 hours later than when he first encountered the craft. He shrugged it off and went back to his Air Force job the next day. However, upon entering work, he was immediately confronted by 3 men in black suits. They told him that they had his file despite having told nobody about the event. The men said that they knew all about it and mentioned that the encounter would be best forgotten. They seemed to know everything about me, where I worked, my name, everything else, Miller said. They also asked questions about his experiences as if they already knew the answers. Miller, terrified, did not come forward about his experience until years later. And the best for last. A video was captured of 2 men in black who allegedly entered a hotel in Canada and started asking questions about one of the hotel employees. The stories say that the employee in question had recently seen a UFO and had told others about his experience. Not long after, these 2 men showed up at his place of employment. Luckily for him, he was not working during their visit. According to witness accounts, the men were asking people not only about the employee in question, but also about conspiracies in general. They had no eyebrows or eyelashes, strange hypnotic eyes, bald heads, possibly disguised by wigs, and clothes that seemed to be meant for fitting in, but somehow were just enough out of place to raise alarm bells. These 2 men were definitely caught on camera. The question is whether they were government agents, beings from another world in disguise, or simply the product of a clever hoax. The question is whether they were government agents, beings from another world in disguise, or simply the product of a clever hoax. Regardless of the answer, there is something hair-raising about 2 men in suits walking into a hotel in the middle of the day and asking strange questions about one of the employees, then leaving as mysteriously as they came. Well, that's it. 5 Men in Black encounters. I hope you enjoyed this creepy video, and remember, if you ever encounter a UFO, you can expect to be approached by mysterious men in black suits who will claim to be part of some organization that probably doesn't exist. Even research can attract them. Be prepared for that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.